Hello, and I am Violet Lange. I'm excited to talk with you today about love, dating, and relationships, and something that holds a lot of women back from finding the love of their life. So if this is just about finding a date, there's apps for that, there's stuff for that. Even if you haven't had a date in many years and you're wondering, how do I find a date? I totally get you, and I teach my clients how to find dates, but also how to find and how to have a great relationship. Now, a lot of times if we haven't had a date in a very long time, it's because our heart is guarded. It's because there's a part of us that's feeling closed off or insecure or shy or just hurt. Maybe from a past relationship, maybe from sexual trauma, maybe from a loss like the death of a family member or a pet or a loved one, or just a bitter divorce. We can unknowingly lock our heart or guard our heart or close our heart. And that can make it feel terrifying to not only get a date, but to get into a relationship. So if you find that you kind of keep putting love on the back burner, I want you to wake up. I want you to realize that love is absolutely what you need and going to help you not only feel more amazing about yourself and to have a better experience of life, but to unlock so much power in your career and your other relationships. Because when a woman gets closed off, she tends to get more and more hardened and brittle and bitter. And I'm sure we've all been around people like that. And then we've also been around people who are totally in love and having the time of their life and feeling passionate about their love life, but about the other parts of their life too. And it makes a huge difference, not only in our experience, but in our health as well. They've done studies that show that being lonely is actually worse than being obese or smoking or being an alcoholic. You have a 45% mortality rate when you're lonely versus 30% for smoking or for being an alcoholic. So that's a huge wake-up call that our health is actually deeply impacted by our relationships. And this is actually a crisis. I find that of all the things that we're missing in life, relationship is the number one. People have learned how to make money. People have learned how to take care of their bodies in better ways. And yes, we can still get better at those things as well. But the black box in our society, the thing that so many people struggle with, is creating a healthy relationship. So if it's been a long time since your last relationship, if you're having a hard time getting dates, if you're finding that your heart is closed off, or if you're just finding that it's hard for you to get a person to want to commit to you or spend more time with you or to go the full distance in relationship, then I have news for you today. This is not about you having a pristine track record in your relationships. None of us have, right? We all have baggage. We all have things that we've done and experienced which have been really, really painful. But I don't want something in the past to keep you from having a glorious future and having that wedding or that travel companion or that house together, or just the slow and steady moments like drinking a glass of wine by the fire or, holding hands at the farmer's market. Yes, those are the moments that we live for. Most women that I talk to want someone that they can have that daily companionship and romance. But you might have forgotten that it's possible for you because your heart has been closed off for so long. And so we want to break those chains because it's time for you to live again. It's time for you to love again. And it's time for you to have an incredible partnership. And like I said, it impacts your health, but it also impacts your finances. They've shown that people with long-term partners make 4 times as much people who are single, because when you have a healthy, committed long-term partnership, you can take risks that you might normally take because someone else is helping cover the rent. So you can start your own business, or you can invest in properties together, or you can just minimize expenses by, again, paying the rent or paying the mortgage together, or being able to, cover life's expenses with a joint unit with a household. So love is really important for all of these reasons. But the most important, I find, is living our fullest, truest, most passionate life that's deeply resonant with who we are, not our past experiences and not our fears. So a lot of women will have a fear of getting back into a relationship, and that fear trickles down all the way from not even not getting into a relationship, but not getting enough dates, or the dates that they're getting are with people that they know they could never actually be with. Someone who's actually not available, someone who lives long distance, someone who's not, enough passion for them or enough caliber or enough smarts, whatever that is. We might date down, or we might date someone who's avoidant or unavailable. And we might think that that's all we can get, or that it just happens to be the circumstance. But typically that's not a circumstance. That's a result, that's an effect of the cause. And the cause is having our heart shut down or closed off and really not being in a place where we feel open. When you're open, when you're comfortable with healthy vulnerability, you will get more dates and you will get into relationship. And there may be a part of you that wants that and a part of you that's terrified about that. But I'm here to help you cross that chasm, cross that bridge from feeling afraid to having everything that you've ever wanted. In fact, that's why I'm here. I've gone through so much fear and so much heartbreak in my life. And so many of the women that I've worked with have gone through the same. They aren't in healthy relationships now because they had pristine track records in a relationship. They're in healthy relationship now because they took their pain, they took their suffering, and they realized that there had to be a better way, and they were not going to let their past define their future. So they got the skills and the tools and the support that they needed to learn how to be vulnerable in the right way. So I know vulnerable is a hot topic right now, right? Like Brene Brown talks about that, other people talk about that. But it's very different to be vulnerable in a romantic relationship than it is in a work environment or other places. And here's why. Our romantic partner is typically our primary attachment figure. So when we were younger, our primary attachment figure was our parents. But when we get into a relationship, our primary attachment figure becomes the person that we are dating, sleeping with, going to be living with, all of those things. And that can create all of this fear and triggers and old patterns. And it can make us hide and run away from relationships. And it can make us hide and close off our heart. And a man wants to see you in your heart. If he just wanted someone that he had an intellectual connection with, he would find a buddy at a meetup, or he would, just be looking for a friend. So if you've ever been friend-zoned, then you probably haven't opened your heart fully and stayed connected to your sensuality, right? A lot of women are like, oh, I just want a companion. And that's great. But again, we can find a companion just through a friend. But the things that we can't share with just a friend are the deepest of the deepest emotional truths, that place of emotional vulnerability that we really only get to with our partner, someone who knows us over the long term. And then, of course, physical intimacy. I don't want you to go without those things. Those things are so important. And in order to get there, it's key that you learn how to open your heart and stay connected to your sensuality and be healthy in your vulnerability. When we don't know how to do vulnerability well, men will kind of back up, and people in general will back away from us. We can feel like we're too much, or they start losing interest, or they're checking their phone all the time, or they start kind of coddling us, but they don't actually want to see us anymore. Like, men who will text you like, oh yeah, like let's get together soon. And then they never actually follow up. When we're not vulnerable in the right way, it can come across as whiny or needy in the wrong ways versus coming across as open and vulnerable. And that inspires the person to want to protect you and provide for you. And even if you're totally independent, kick butt sort of woman, you might not need or want a man to provide for you. But emotionally, wouldn't it be nice if there was someone who had your back, who was cheering you on, who was helping you reach the highest heights in your career and in your life, and also being a really good role model for a healthy relationship for your children if you have them, or for your community at large? Like, how nice would it be to be in that partnership that your friends are like, oh my God, they're so in love, they're so inspiring, hashtag relationship goals. Like, don't you want to be in that sort of partnership? Well, I want that for you. I want that for every woman, because I think that's the most transformative power on the planet. And the next wave of consciousness is all about healthy relationship and healing from our old wounds, which oftentimes happens through relationship. We can't heal our deepest wounds without having a relationship. There's so much work we can do on our own. And a lot of women that I work with have already done a lot of work, like gone to therapy or had spiritual teachers or gone to healing retreats or workshops. There's nothing wrong with that, but it can only get you so far. To go the full distance, you have to do so in partnership, because that's like the petri dish or the incubator where all of these things will come up. And with the right partnership, they can be healed. So if you find that you're holding back, that you're not getting dates, that you're not getting the sort of dates that you want, or that you're getting into relationships and they're, a self-fulfilling prophecy of not working out, or it's the same sort of pattern again and again, I really want to help you. I don't want you to stay stuck. I teach women every single day how to break through their old past, how to heal their blocks to love, how to get through the fears that have trapped them in the past, how to deal with triggers and manage those when it comes up, and how to be open and vulnerable in a way that's super magnetic and attractive and inspires someone to really go the distance for you, so you can keep your heart and your emotional vulnerability and your physical vulnerability and intimacy sizzling hot and going really strong. And you feel like the relationship just gets better and better and better instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop. So if that's something that you want in your life, and if you're watching this video, I would say that that's probably a hell yeah for you, then go to violetlange.com/talk and book your free Breakthrough to Love session. These are amazing opportunities to really understand what's been going on in your love life and get the clarity and the insight and the value you need, plus having fun too about what you need to do differently in order to have the love that you deserve and the love that you want. So go to violetlange.com/talk for your Breakthrough to Love session. And we look forward to changing the world with you and every woman that we connect with so that she can have love and passion and romance and break through all of those fears.